My name's Pete Hick. I'm originally from Dorset. I moved here in 2010 to study popular music at the University of Gloucestershire. And in February time, I took over control of this place and this became the cafe that I'm managing. So we serve ice cream, we serve cold soft drinks, crisps, as well as renting out the boats and doing tennis, renting out the tennis courts and doing golf for the pitch and putt up the back of the park. But over the summer, hopefully, we might be expanding to do some events in the evening time and maybe get our alcohol license so it can be like a sort of quiet, early drinking spot. The outdoor activities aren't necessarily available in this atmosphere. There's no location quite like this. It's quite as serene in the local area, and for quite, apart from the Forest of Dean, I couldn't think of another area that's quite as nice as Pittville Park.
Here in the Forest of Dean, tourism is enormous now in a respect for this area. And there are lots of different companies operating here, doing activities, things like Go Ape, kayaking, canoeing, and it does have an impact, I suppose. I mean, people are drawn to the Forest of Dean because they feel they want to get outdoors and do something outdoors, but I'm not really sure what. It's almost like people are looking for something, but they don't really know what it is anymore. I'm not entirely sure that people sort of realise the effect that a lot of the activities and industries have on the woodland around here in the Dean. I think the general public don't really have as much respect for the environment as probably they used to in times have gone by. I suppose there's some personal gains from it. I could look at it in a selfish way, like happiness, being outside, being in a stress-free environment. You know, there are lots of perks to it on a personal level. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. It's the reason we're all here, and it's a real shame that we can't live in a more harmonic way with it. We have to kind of shape it to our needs rather than live alongside it.
I'm a senior lecturer in physical geography here at the University of Gloucestershire, and I'm interested in how the landscape works, the different processes, and in particular how rivers work. So the natural functions that you have in rivers and how people have affected them. When you think about people, it's mainly kind of the number of people that we're now experiencing in our landscape. So if we have really pretty spots that everyone wants to go to look at, so honeypot sites, then the number of people that you have walking over can cause a lot of disturbance to the ecosystems. So they can disturb nesting birds, small insects, and just the vegetation, it wears it down gradually over time. So you can divide it up into extremes, but I do think It depends. It's all about the activity and how aware people are of the nature. If you look at people that take part in things like fishing, there's been a resurgence. So a lot of people in their teens to 20s are now starting to become fishermen, fisherwomen. And if you go out fishing, you really appreciate a river system and that it has to be clean. You have to respect nature. You can't influence the river system or you won't get the fish within it.
Day-to-day life probably has an enormous effect on the environment around you. We've pretty much colonised the world in some respects, this island completely, and there are tiny little things, tiny changes you make that you probably don't realise the impact they have on the environment, like driving a car, like little pieces of rubber coming off of tyres, buying something from a shop, where does that packet go? And it really is a global thing, not a global thing, but more of a widespread problem across the British Isles as a whole, really, than just the Dean. We don't realise that the way we live our life now has a tremendous impact on where we live, basically.
I think the main thing is just learning about the environment you're going to. So if you're going into an area and you're going to go off the footpaths, be aware if it's a breeding season for any particular animals and just avoid those areas.
If you've got the knowledge of what the outdoors is going to give you, or what, how, nature's going to react to you being there, then you don't have a choice but to give it respect. For example, George the Swan lives on this lake with his partner Zelda, and he loves his cygnets. So if you go near them and without warning, and they don't know who you are and they don't know why you're there, they react by squawking or flapping their nearly 2-metre wingspan at you and getting in your boat.
You get lots of tourist activities, so some extreme cycling can be detrimental and can have an impact on the environment, and things like litter that come alongside tourists as well.
You go for a walk on any coastline in the British Isles and you'll find children's toys, plastic, washed up tyres, Tupperware, just masses of it, and it's not that people are doing that deliberately, it's just that we don't realise that the way we live our life now has a tremendous impact on where we live, basically.
So if you've got things that can't biodegrade, so they can't break down into the soil, then often they're eaten by the animals, which can create problems and normally resulting in death. We have plastics that get into the system and they can take about 2,000 years to start to even degrade. So if you're walking along and you drop a plastic litter and it gets into the water system, into the rivers, there's the potential there for it to affect the fish life. But also, if it gets pushed out into the oceans, it can sit there for thousands of years and affect the marine life that lives out there as well.
There seems to be a lot less people interested in the outdoors, but there seems to be a bit of a renaissance with younger people getting more involved, like a tonic for being on their computers, on their phones all the time. They want to see the outdoors, and you get a complete rush. You get the endorphins from just being outside, being in the sun. You get the vitamin D, and you get to see things that can't be reproduced on your phone or on a screen.
Even though technologies come in, there's still a balance. Nature's still thriving, and people can thrive alongside it. And that's really what you carry then on further on in life, and it makes you question and think more about the actions you do to an environment like this. And that's really where it needs to begin, I think. And I think we've kind of lost that a little bit. We really have. Not everyone, but as a whole, I think we've lost that a little bit.
Take care of signs that say don't step off the footpath. Always shut gates so you don't let all the sheep out or mingle different cattle. And then I think everyone will enjoy it a bit more anyway, because people are going outside to see nature. So if you keep it in a good condition, then you'll appreciate it more.
It's a lot of work, it's hard, but it's fun, and I get to be on the lake, I get to be with the boats, I get to be with nature, I get to see all the birds all the time and the swans, and yeah, it's a dream.